Okay guys, this video is going to be about cache. It's titled Understanding Cache, and I'm going to go over the map as an in-game leader and tell you what's important on T side, what's important on CT side, and basically how to master the map and play it right. Whenever I'm running through scenarios in my head, I mean not in my head but in front of you guys, whenever I'm going to run scenarios, these are scenarios that would happen at the highest level of play, right? So I'm not looking for mediocre players or how to counter mediocre players here. I'm going to go over how to play the map properly, because I'm assuming that the opposite team is going to play the map properly. Okay, so let's just jump right in. So I'm going to start off with the T side. I'll probably start with a couple of pistol round strats ideas. Probably the most common one on T side is boosting multiple people, so 2 or 3, and having the rest of the team go A main, and you're just gonna split highway and A main. It's a pretty effective strat because CTs don't tend to contest mid on CT pistol. So say if they get smoked out here, they might try to run here, or usually good players won't even take that risk, so they'll have the secondary mid player who's going to be the one highway. It's probably going to be peeking mid main or jump peeking to make sure nobody's getting boosted, and as soon as he gets the information that alright, there are multiple people getting boosted, he's going to drop off mid and play mid from A side with his teammate who is in A side. So, and this, I mean, obviously it depends on how the CTs like to play, right? So a lot of teams like to give up A side on the pistol round, so instead of falling back to A side once they've lost mid, he's just gonna go truck, and then there's probably gonna be like one guy quad, then one guy Z, and multiple people over V. So that's a pretty common pistol round. So usually what we want to be doing is smoking Z, pop flashing, boosting 3 people or 2 people up mid. I would recommend 3. Pop flashing mid and having those 3 just run up mid. You can flash highway for them as well. Then having the second guy while they're boosting up, then you have the 5th player on your team holding him in like this. And as soon as everybody gets boosted and everything's clean, assuming that they didn't push A main, then you guys are gonna go make your way into A main. If you wanna be really safe, you can always pop flash close up and smoke this, and you're gonna flash a quad or a fence, and you're all gonna just storm out with these players right here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not the strat that I'm the most fan about, because technically it's really counterproductive to smoke the cross when your players are coming up highway, because nobody can, you guys at A main can't trade with them. But technically, since they have they have 3 players, they should be able to get these kills. But I mean, at the same time, I won't go on and on about this. So usually what's gonna happen is that you're gonna smoke this off, and you're gonna flash this, and then cross forklift. You're gonna be the ones clearing forklift for them. That way when they rush, all the angles they gotta be worried about is our truck inside. They don't have to clear this. Okay, another common pistol stat is either walk A main with 4 people, 1 guy squeaky. There are a lot of ways of doing this strat. You can do it fast or fuck, my bad. You can do it fast or slowly. So what's good about a straight A take on pistols is that you're gonna get yourselves into close range battles in the side with clocks, which favors you since you're smoking off a truck, and you're gonna get a free bomb plant, and then you're gonna play the retake, the post plant situation, where you as my bad, where you as terrorists are all holding close quarters angles. See, I mean, you usually, so forklift, if you're holding forklift, the little sidewalk or runway by forklift, it's all close range, so it favors the clocks. The guy quad who's speaking the crossword side with his teammate in default, those angles are close range, and the guy holding A main, that's also close range. So that's why it's probably the most effective strat, I would say. there's not much you can do as a CT to counter a straight A main push on pistol. Even if you stack multiple players, you would all need to be hitting first bullet headshots for it to work. Okay, so I'm just gonna set up a timer here, that way I want to make sure I don't just start wobbling about stuff and just wasting time. So I want to make this video about 20 minutes long, so that's why I'm gonna have my little timer here. Great. Okay. There are a lot of tricky strats you can run on T-pistol, right? One I like to do is faking mid to B. So I'm gonna have the bomb and someone else walk up squeaky, so they're gonna walk all the way through. You're obviously giving up B main. This strat's gotta be really fast since you're giving up B main. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna have two players come here. Wait. I just want to make sure I don't have the stream open because I am kind of lagging. No stream is open. What's this running off? Encoding and quick sync. Okay, we're good. I don't have the stream open. Okay. So back to the game, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, you're gonna have the bomb and someone else squeaky. And then you're gonna have two people, so three people are gonna buy full nade stacks. Full nade, so smoke, flash is what I recommend. So you're gonna smoke this, and smoke the other side as well. Then you're gonna get, are these the proper ones? That seems to be fine. You usually want to wait out some shots, right? You're gonna wait the spams, a couple seconds. Then you can pop flash. I wouldn't. It's not necessary to flash up mid because CTs don't tend to play close up mid on pistol. Then you get out, and as you wanna jump up and get into vent, you're gonna flash highway, and you're gonna jump in at the same time as you flash. That way, that guy's gotta turn away from your flash, so he can't really shoot you. And then by that time, like as soon as you're up here, you want your B main player, so the guy who's gonna be here. So what this guy can do is flash across. That way he can cross safely. Then get here, and he's gonna pop flash your checkers, and then he's gonna walk up or run up, make his way here. He's gonna smoke CT for you guys. Then you guys are gonna drop off of vents. One of you guys still have a couple of flashes, so you can pop flash side, and all explode, and you're just gonna explode into the B side. So it's basically a mid to be fake. So you're committing, right? All three players here are committing. The reason you're committing is because not a lot on pistol. So like there are basically two philosophies on how to run T-side pistol strats. One of them is running really basic stuff, so like boosting mid and splitting, or going all to the same spot and just overwhelming the CTs. And the other one is throwing fakes. And the most effective way, in my opinion, to throw fakes is using a lot of utility and most of your team to fake, right? So you're sending everybody, not everybody, but the majority of your team to fake with all of your utility. That way, it's really inconceivable for CTs to think that, oh, it's a fake, because usually when you use 3 smokes in a pistol round, you're going to use those 3 smokes to plant the bomb. If you don't, it's not that it's moronic, but it would be a stretch of the imagination for the mid player to not rotate into B, right? So usually what's going to happen, so great teams are not going to move from their, like they're going to leave one guy A for sure, or he's going to be he'd probably be playing truck, and then they're going to stack 4 side. As soon as they see the 2 smokes, and then the smoke CT and the ball flashes into side and 3 people rushing, that's when there's going to be at least 4 people here almost every single time. And then if you're playing really against a great team, then the A player is still going to be in A, so he's either going to be truck or inside. And this is where your Glocks shine. You just open squeaky and you just jump around and get the trade and plant the bomb for A main. That's a pistol strat I like running, so that's basically it. I went over pistol strats for about 6-7 minutes. That's a long time. Try making the rest of the video a lot shorter. So I'm gonna go over defaults here. Just like Mirage, cache is a map where taking mid control as a terrorist is key. It's if you don't do it, I mean, teams that don't take mid control and T-side cache, they don't know how to play T-side cache. So you don't have to do it every single time, but usually what I recommend doing is running your default 80% of the time. So you're gonna take mid control 80% of the time, and the remaining 20% you're gonna do something right off the bat. So a classic default would be one guy B, one guy around. So this is just, you're all just holding pushes. One guy around squeaky. Probably what I would do is have your opera sit in A main, a rifler looking at boost, and a rifler in mid. That would be the classic default. And everybody's holding. Then you say after the 2 smokes in mid, you want to take mid control late. So like at 110, you're gonna take mid control. So at 110, someone comes here and smokes Z, and it's usually gonna be the squeaky guy who's gonna come back and boost you guys. And you can get 2 people boosted with the, a rifler in the upper, and he's gonna pop flash you guys out. So you guys are gonna peek everything out. And then this guy, the close mid, he's got a flash for himself. So a good way of flashing for yourself. Wait, I'm gonna kill myself real quick. That way I can buy a variety of nades. There it is. A good way of flashing for yourself when you're in mid without flash blinding your teammates. Since the only spot you're looking right, so what you're smoking is this, and if you're a team that doesn't like take risks, then you can smoke this as well. It's it's a safer way of taking mid control. So like yeah, and you get them all events obviously. So what's gonna happen is here. So say mid garage is smoked out. Then someone's gonna smoke at a certain time. You're all gonna throw a smoke, then a molly. Then this guy, if he wants to get fancy, can do something like that to molly sandbags. Oh, I missed it. Fuck. God, I suck. And then you're all gonna storm through with a flash. And this hit. So these people's role. So with the flash, peek and clear that nobody's out in the open looking here. And then as soon as they've cleared that, obviously they're gonna be looking below them. As soon as they've cleared that with the flash, they want to swing wide and make sure nobody's close left. This guy's role. So if you want to kind of not get fancy, but a good way of flashing mid for yourself would be to flash like this. So you're not flashing, it doesn't get into a mid garage, but it does blind the guy who's peeking here. So you want to ball flash. A good way would probably be like that. You want to ball flash like this, and you want to get out. And get out on the right side, right? That way you get all 3 people looking at the same things and being able to trade with each other. If this guy runs up on the left side, he's fighting a 1v1 with the guy highway, which is never what you want to be doing on a T side. So yeah, so this guy can get out right. So he's the one clearing close right, while his teammates are the ones clearing close left. And then he's probably going to be peeking this, and once this is clear, he can flash. Highway across, he's gonna cross here, clear Vance. Vance was mollied, so the likeliness of someone still being there is really low. You still want to do it. So he's gonna clear Vance, probably, and he can probably sit here if he wants. Then his 2 other teammates, they're probably gonna ball flash highway like this. It's not a great flash. And they're gonna clear close up highway, and this is when the op comes into action. So you can either have the op boosted up here, and he's gonna shoulder peek this, and shoulder peek this. He's gonna either ask for a flash to blind this guy before he holds the angle. So say the vent guy has another flash, he's gonna flash for him, and this guy's gonna come here and hold that angle right here, while his rifler is right below him. I can hold forklift if he wants. And yeah, you're just holding angles, and you see if someone's gonna over peek and overstay. And with that, this is basically mid control. So the reason on a default on cache mid control is key is because it's an area of the map where the terrorists are actually have the upper hand in any, like when they execute, right? And execution actually favors the terrorists over the CTs. What I mean by that is that anything the CTs want to throw at the terrorists shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't stop a mid control from T side. So, because since they're smoking this, and they're smoking this, and they're pop flashing out mid, there are no setups and they're mollying vents. This guy's gonna get blind, right? So these guys are just gonna get traded. This guy's gonna get blind and traded. And same for this guy, right? So there are no setups for the CTs where they can get favorable trades, even with 3 people mid. Because 3 people mid, that's basically, to me, it's useless. Because I mean, you can't have 3. I mean, say you wanted to play a cheesy setup, like this guy right here holding this, and this guy holding this, and a guy here. With that would be a pretty cheesy setup. And actually, the way you would do it is this guy would be looking here. This guy would be looking here, and this guy would be looking here as well. That way, these two have a crossfire on this. This guy's holding an off angle, and this guy can trade with the guy below boost, right? So that would be a decent setup for the CTs, but even that setup is gonna get flushed out, right? So one flash destroyed this guy right here, and as soon as and this guy, whether he's looking in mid or looking up there, the terrorist that runs through and clears this is gonna get a free kill. If this guy peeks a little too wide, I mean, this guy's gonna get blind as well. So everybody here is, because the flash line's here, everybody, I mean, basically everybody's getting blind. That's why it's not a good setup. That's why mid control favors a T side. Taking mid is really easy as terrorist. And that's why you see so many teams on the CT just give it up, because you can't really contest it. So that's why it's a really important part of the default. And you need to know how to push an advantage, right? You need to know, alright, we've taken mid control here, it's time to do something with this mid control. It's not just, let's take mid control and not do anything with it. Let's take mid control and then push our boundaries a little bit. Let's see what we can get into A. Let's flash up highway. Yo, are you opping? Yeah? Let's come here and hold this. I want to see if one of the A players is gonna over peak. I want to see if the forklift player is gonna come peak. I want to see, you know, all these things. So, and then once you see that, alright, everybody's playing so passive, like the A players aren't even committing, they're not even jump peeking the spot. The Z guy isn't overstepping, right? So you, while your team's doing that, this guy right here who's advanced is gonna be the one looking for the Z flank. The Z guy isn't pushing forward, he's not looking for kills. And at the extremities, your B player hasn't seen anybody push through, and the guy who's gonna be usually squeaky, he hasn't seen anybody push through, or he didn't hear anybody push aim in as well, either. So you know that you're all covered. So you know where the CTs are set up. There's gonna be a 2-1-2. There's gonna be someone outside of Z looking for Z, 2 towards A. Usually the better ways of playing A site when you don't have mid control is 2 site, or 1 forklift 1 site. But the better ways would be 2 site. And then you're gonna have your 2 players at B, right? Some teams are gonna, you know, start taking risks at CT, so they're gonna stack A. They're gonna leave one guy B by himself, and they're gonna stack A, right? There's gonna be 3 people A, so this guy's gonna be truck. You're probably gonna have a guy forklift if he's truck, and a guy side. That way you got a 3-man stack at A. This is what's most common. Yeah, it's what's most common when CTs give up mid control, is for them to stack A rather than stacking B, because B is like one of the sides where it's not easy to hold by yourself, but it's easy to delay by yourself, to delay a push. So, whereas you can't really delay a push. If they just smoke you out and get in, even if you counter flash 5 times, they'll still just storm through and they're gonna kill you. So yeah, it's an intricate part of the default mid control, but it's something you need to take. I've talked for 7 minutes now about mid control, so it's a long time. So yeah, you want to be taking mid control, and then doing something with this mid control, right? So along with the B player, if you want to take checkers control, you can do that too, right? This guy can smoke his B main, that way he can cross. He's gonna smoke his B main and probably peek this, flash here, whereas his teammate in checkered, in Vance, and the guy Vance gonna peek with the flash. He doesn't see anybody. He can molly at the end. I mean, he doesn't have a molly, but he can just hold back a sight or drop with that guy. I usually wouldn't recommend for him to drop, since he's the one holding. He's got to hold Z at the same time. So you can take checker control, like you can you know, push up highway. That's what you do with mid control. And then off of all of this information, you decide whether you want to run on an A take or a B take, right? So if you're in a 5v5 situation after all of this, and that means the CTs aren't contesting B, they're not contesting mid, they're not contesting checkers, all of that has happened, they're not doing anything. Different things you can do is what I would recommend personally is I mean, anything is good at that point because it really favors you. Now this is why I think Cache is a T-sided map, is because once you got mid control, splitting the sides are fairly easy, and just taking the sides straight on is also really easy. So you can decide to all fall back for mid, and then you can leave a lurker in mid or a day. You're all gonna fall back. It's really important when you're falling back, if you don't have checkers control, to walk. If you have checkers control, then you can run if you want. So everybody's gonna come back here. The B player usually wants to break the window every single round, and then you're gonna set up for a B execute, right? So you got checker control. You're ready for a B execute. Yeah, you can molly. I don't know these mollies. I missed it. You can molly default and molly backside, and then smoke CT, smoke heaven, and just storm through, right? Pop flash, pop flash right here, and everybody's gonna. This is not the greatest flash ever, but everybody's just gonna storm through. And since the heaven is smoked out, going up on the ramp is actually better than going headshot. So you can go on the ramp and clear the sole angle left and sight. I mean, actually the two angles left and side are this one and this one. Technically this one as well. So you just want to just run up. Probably you're gonna run on the right side. That way this guy is not gonna get free kills, but I mean he's not gonna be playing there. So that way this guy can just peek and get free kills before your teammates can trade. So you're mauling everything off, smoking everything off, flashing, just trading the kills. Yeah, that's a good way. Like when CTs are pushed out of checkers, it's really tough for them to defend the B side. It's almost impossible. It literally comes down to counter flashing and just having stellar timing, not stellar, lucky timing, right? So all of these mollies are going through, and this guy right here, he's depending. Yeah, he's depending on the flash, right? So his teammate from outside of heaven probably is gonna be saying, "Yo, I'm flashing B for you. You're gonna come here, pop a flash like this is a terrible flash. Pop a flash like this, so that he can peek, he can turn around and then peek this and probably get a couple of kills." This is the only way to defend B side when you're getting mollied out, and it's based on it's based on timing and luck. It's literally luck. Can you flash before this guy sees me? Like it's based on luck. That's why it's really good. That's why mid control is really key, because with mid control you can take checkers control, and now it's a little bit different for A, but there are a lot of variables, not variables, but different things that you can run on your default, right? So your extremity players, like I said, you can take checkers control with the vent player, and then at the same time, if the squeaky player can be, if he's a really smart passive player, he can open squeaky. Oh fuck, man. He's gonna open squeaky and jump over just to make sure that I mean not to make sure, but to know where. So what's gonna be happening is he's gonna be opening the door. He's gonna be opening the door and jumping at the same time to spot someone. To make sure catwalk, not this angle right here, but this angle is cleared by your teammates in mid. So, but just all these angles right here are cleared, and that he's not forklift peeking, right? And then once you cleared this, then you can probably just come here. What a terrible molly that was. You can molly forklift and then just hold one of the sides. So either you want to hold on the left side or you want to hold on the right side. I'm probably a guy that would like to hold I would like to hold on the right side personally. So I would molly here. I would molly that way. The molly spreads out to the left more than on the right. That way his choice is really go on the right side. And I want a gunfight. My goal is to get a gunfight out of this. So I'm gonna molly on the left side, and then I'm gonna post on the right side. You're gonna get a free kill right here if you can, if you had your shot. And then once you've cleared, like say there's nobody playing forklift, this is when you know you can. Alright, we can split A actually right now. All we have to do is basically smoke deep truck. Is this good? This is a terrible smoke. that's a little better. And flash. The flash probably going to be coming from here. You're going to flash, and everybody's going to just storm through. Since forklift is clear, they can all cross here, and you're going to clear sight. Or you can just, you know, all run back to A. Probably leave a lurker in mid. This is where a lurker in mid would be really good. He can be here. The guy can be here if he wants. He can be below vent. He can be below boost, wherever he wants. Then you're going to hit A with smokes, right? Usually you wanna be keeping 3 smokes for an execute, 2 to 3 smokes. So if you have 3 smokes, then obviously smoking, doing an execute like this is gonna land. Like this is the better thing to do. But god damn it, you're gonna smoke the obviously this smoke's pretty bad. So you're gonna smoke cross, catwalk, and behind side, and then if you have mollies, you can obviously flush out these spots. You always got to be worried about an opper at A. So before doing anything at A, usually, say you just smoke everything off. You want to be pop flashing A, smoking cross, and then you can probably peek out in molly because the opper is gonna be blind, and good operas won't repeat that. So you're gonna have your opper after the flasher pops, holding a quad. Then you can molly this and have a second guy molly this, and then you can just all storm through the site. And if you want to get fancy, I guess you could flash like this to help you push side, right? So if this guy is here, once he sees the flash, he either has to fully hide or dodge. I mean, it's basically, it gives you a better shot at getting the kill. That would be a terrible flash. Yeah, I mean there are a lot of different things you can do, but that's what I would do. And you can take a site. So this is basically why mid control is so fucking useful on T side cache. Because it pushes back the CTs, denies information. It gives you so much map control. It's not only like you don't only gain mid. You also gain checkered. You also gain highway. There's a lot of map control right here. You're pushing by the CTs. You're making sure that they have to turtle. And once the CTs have to turtle, then they gotta make a choice, right? It's either we fight mid or we fight the extremities. And this is where it comes down to who hits the shots. So say you've taken mid control and like they can't really deal with it. This is when they want to be pushing A main late with the flash with 2 players. We've cleared A main, then you set one guy in A main, and the second guy's probably going to be around forklift. And you give up A side. You play super passive, and you just make sure that you retain A main control, right? So I'm gonna go over this when I'm gonna talk about the CT side, but for T side, this is what's important. Another thing you can do without taking mid control is taking checkers control early in the round. So the same, you're gonna assign 2 players B. You're gonna smoke the B cross. You can probably flash off of this. Then both of the riflers are gonna peek. You can molly below vent, and then have your squeaky player molly vent at the same time. And then you're gonna pulse on it, making sure nobody's here. So someone's gonna pop flash checkers. You gotta clear this angle. You're gonna clear checkers. All right, checkers is clear now. We got checkers control, and you can fall back off of this. A thing that CTs don't do. CTs don't retake checkers control. So you can boost up the guy in vent if your teammate in vent, since it was just small lead. The CTs, I mean, they could expect it, but they're not themselves going to be there, so they themselves won't be there. So you can boost up the guy vent and then take main control that way, right? Where this main control would probably require nobody getting boosted and people getting out mid. So the way you would do this mid control would probably be smoking this. You could still smoke this, and you just pop the flash, and as the flash pops, this guy gets out. I mean, he peeks a highway with everybody. That way you can trade kills. That's a variant that you can throw in for your default. A different way of taking mid. You can also, split mid. Like you can also do the wall of smoke to take mid control. You don't always have to smoke deep. It's up to you. To me, the most effective way is smoking deep, mollying sandbags, mollying vents, and boosting people. Alright. And then, like I said earlier in the video, 80% of the time is when you're going to do these types of mid control, and the remaining 20% is when you want to be running strats right off the bat, off of the information you've gathered through the many default rounds, right? So this is when you want all the information that your squeaky player gathered. Yeah, he's always opping a main, or he never smokes a main. He always keeps his smoke for when we execute, stuff like that. All of that stuff can be exploited. So yeah, this is basically how you play T-side cache. It's mid. I didn't even talk about A side. I mean, I went over a couple of executes, but it's really the basic executes. You can always do the wrap strat, to me, which would be probably an innovative strat. You don't have to let all of these gaps. You can smoke. I guess you can smoke like this, which is probably a strat that's actually not like this. The second smoke would be here, and you could wrap. So I didn't talk about innovative strats and stuff like that, and executions and stuff like that, but it's just this is the basics of T-side cache, which is mid control. Then now we're gonna go over on the CT side and look at how to play the CT side. So usually how I like to look at a map is from a terrorist perspective. How do I want to play my CT side? What's good on CT side? If you have an opera with a good spawn, always send. Like, when I say always, it's really always send him here. And if you know that he doesn't have to. If he single scopes, he can see the flashes come, and he can dodge the flashes and just hold the angle again. So that's what I would do. Every time you have your opera's got a good spawn for B, definitely hold B cross. It gives you so much information, and when you don't see anybody there, you want your operator to play more aggressive and to be holding these types of angles. And then you can peek all of the I don't know these angles, but you can peek all of these all of the angles that are usually held by rifles, right? So or he can just smoke deep, smoke like this, and then let the rifler hold B. Probably this is double smoke with cross and checkers, and hold that in the center, and hold B. That's something good to do on the CT side. Not good. It's kind of something you need to do every time you get the spawn for it. So early contest in mid, right? As long as you guys have smokes, you can contest mid. That's the way I see it. So you're gonna smoke here. You don't have to get up close. I would recommend, depending on how the smoke is. So if the smoke, a good way of smoking mid is smoking in a way where the guy close right, so the guy who's going to be dodging flashes, he doesn't want to be seen from boost, right? So for as long as the smokes are down, then that spot is viable. Or he can play right on the other side right here and hold this. Usually when you have this kind of a setup, you want the sandbag start to play like this. So it's off of information, right? So you either play like this, and the guy watching mid, or you play this guy watching mid, this guy holding the off angle. Other ways of playing mid efficiently on CT, close mid. Like I said when I went over T side, it's really not easy to play mid on the. Mid control as a CT depends on basically being the ability of getting entry kills, of getting good timings with flashes, right? So if you know that either they've boosted up mid, like you're playing this angle right here, you're holding behind the smoke like this. Well, then you want your A player to pop flash mid for you really high. That way you can swing wide and peek all of these guys who are going to be blind. That's a good way of contesting mid. Other than that, what else you can do is that, for like say the team doesn't molly vent, then you can just have the guy boosted in vent. He's not holding anything. You're just holding this. He's not peeking anything basically, and as soon as you know they're boosted, then you can pop flash for him. This isn't the best flash ever, but you could probably flash like this. Yeah, that'd be a much better flash for him to just swing wide and peek anybody who's here or in this area. These are the different ways of playing mid. You can always boost over the smoke in Z if you want, stuff like that. But usually, really, once you've wasted both of the smokes in mid, you need to give it up. Or counter boost aggressively. Like if you want to counter boost aggressively, you can do that too. So the thing is, once you give up mid control, this is when, right? So actually, I'll just go over mid for a quick second. So like I mentioned earlier, good teams. I'm really looking for the better teams on T side and CT side and how they play, and so that's where I get my philosophy of. So when I talk about mid control as a CT, like I said, you gotta give it up. You gotta give it up against teams that can execute on mid, right? You can always test the waters. Like the first time they execute mid late, you want to see how they do it. And it's like, are they missing something, or do they not smoke sandbags? Do they not molly sandbags or vent? You know, can we? You always want to be asking yourself, is there a way to counter their mid aggression, right? So not every single team is going to be running the perfect execution for mid, and like that's where you can usually counter it. You're only gonna be able to counter it for 1 or 2 rounds before they figure out a better way of taking mid. But like I mentioned earlier, we're looking for the better teams here who molly sandbags and molly vent when they take mid, and they smoke highway and Z, right? So like there aren't really many holes in their takes. This is when you gotta give it up, and once you give it up, really what I would recommend is having a guy close forklift, and this guy's role is to push A main late. You can do the same thing at B. So depending on how they play, once you've given up mid, this is usually when you want pop flash and B main to clear if anybody's peeking these angles, and if nobody's peeking, this is when you got turtle or press forward, right? So a thing that you don't want to be doing is pushing at both extremities. So if you push A main, you don't want to be pushing B main at the same time. So, and if you want to play passive A, this is when you need. It's not like you should. It's not you could or you. It's a proposition. It's like you need to push B main with 2 players when you play passive A. If you've given up mid control, unless you're playing really passive at B. If you're playing a setup like this, this would be a pretty cool setup. Playing a setup like this, where like if you hear people drop, this guy right here can just flash for you, and you can get a couple of kills, then that's good. But other than that, I would recommend walk double pushing B main. But obviously the A main push is the more viable one, because one ball flash can just destroy them. So yeah, that's what you want to be doing. Now, it usually depends on how many ops are you running. If you're running 2 ops, you can give up mid and play passive at each site, right? Because your oppers are going to be locking down spots. This guy's going to be peeking fence. Your B players usually going to be peeking the cross the entire time, or maybe if he's smoked off, he's going to be you're going to have someone behind this right here, the rifle right here, and this guy right here. Maybe he's going to be peeking these angles. So, and once you once you decide to play passive, then he's gonna be the one peeking these angles right here. And actually, an op here, it's not great, but oppers are like, when you're opping, if you get the first kill here, you can reposition and get a second kill. You probably won't get a third one, but it is possible to get 2 kills. So when you're opping the extremities, that's when you don't actually have to push, but it's still better, right? And there are all variations you can run on CT side. When you give up mid control, you can boost up at A. But yeah, like I said, kind of boost mid. What else? Delay push squeaky. Those are the things you can do. You gotta mix in your CT side. You gotta mix your setups. You gotta be able to push A main aggressively early. You gotta be able to push quickie aggressively early. The good ways of doing this, depending you have an op. If you have an op, then you can always have your op come really wide like this. Hold this angle while the rifler walks up, and then as the rifler she's getting ready to peek out. It's either you have your opper who's just keeps peeking these angles, or he flashes for the rifler, one or the other. I don't really prefer any of them. I think they're both good ways of taking it. Or if you have a good A main spawn, you need to be able to have your operator come and sit up here. Alright, I don't see anybody, then either hold it for about, you know, maybe 10 more seconds, and if you, wait, 10 or 15 seconds, and once, like, usually what you want to be doing is, if you give up mid control, first of all, you don't want to waste two smokes, only one smoke in mid, so you don't want to be re-smoking mid, you only want to smoke mid once, because you want to be able to have multiple smokes at the extremities to stop an eventual execution. So maybe your op is going to be up here at the beginning of the round, then you don't see anybody. He's going to sit here for about, you know, 10 to 15 seconds, and when as soon as he if he still doesn't see anybody, or if he was able to retain control of the A main entrance, then he could smoke it off, then himself go back A. He can always go catwalk. He's going to go back in, just op highway. Wow, that was really cool. While your rifler is going to be the one getting in here, and he's going to be the one holding behind the smoke. Usually, when you're holding behind smokes, you don't want to be peeking too wide. That way, you don't get blinded by flashes. Or you want to play right up behind the smoke. That way, you can hear someone pop a flash. So, like the angles, if you were to play super passive, you can always play like this, because once you get blind, you can hide and then ask for the guy in A main to flash. The guy is a flash for you to peek. But to me, whenever you're smoking this, it's I would either play behind this box and play it like this, or I would do it on the other side and play like this, or play really close up like I said. So that way, if I get blind, it's either if I hear the flash, like, because you can hear the, I don't know how to call that, but when they're popping the flash ready, you can hear it. You can hear the I've got no clue how to call that, but fuck, dude. You can basically hear it, and if you don't, and you do end up getting blind, you can always, you know, try and make your way into the smoke and lurk. So get the best out of a bad position, out of a bad situation rather. Okay, and once the smoke disappears, then you re-smoke it, and by the time your smoke disappears, there's probably going to be 40 seconds left in the round, and like it just gives you so much so much information and map control basically. When you lose, every time you lose control of something as CT, something that is yours. So say it's mid on cache is yours to begin with. You want to take something that is theirs. So A main is theirs to begin with. You want to be able to do that. Same thing goes for Sunroom, right? Like when I mentioned the early opping style of peeking here, this is not seeing anybody, then smoking, and leaving then having your rifle across here and hold it, and re-smoking this again. Now you want to be able to do those types of things, and I think I've said my piece about. I think the only thing I want to go over is it's ecos. How to play ecos on CT. Like, the one thing that frustrates me a lot when I look at NACS and I look at the professional scene and how they play their eco rounds is that whether they invest something or not, like when they don't invest anything, like say all they buy is P250s, I'm really angry, because 5 P250s isn't going to win you the round. You need something. You need a flash. You need, like, the only way 5 P250s win you the round is if you stack aside properly and the terrorists don't molly you out. So I'm gonna talk about ecos here and say what you should be just go over what you should be doing on ecos. On ecos, you want to be purchasing flashes. All these spots are flashable. This A main is flashable, squeaky is flashable, B main is flashable. All these spots, one flash can destroy and not an execution, but an information gathering from a terrorist. So, and you don't want to push the issue right away. You don't want to push A main at the beginning of the round, because that's when the terrorists are going to play really passive. They're going to play right up here. If they get blind, they're just going to fall back, probably flash and peek again. And this guy right here is going to be dodging flashes. You don't want to do that. You want to push A main late. Probably give yourself 20 seconds, 25 seconds, depending on the amount of noise you hear. So if you want to set up, and a good thing also is, if you're like sending more people to, obviously in eco rounds you want to be giving up mid. That's literally number one. You don't contest mid, in my opinion. Pistols against the rifles when people are getting boosted is not a good thing. Unless you have some kind of a good bait setup, so maybe someone playing here, along with someone playing here, along with someone playing close. This would be a decent mid setup on an eco. But if you're not doing that, then I would recommend either stacking B or stacking A. So you'd have 3 people at A, one guy spotting mid, like from Z, and one guy B. And you want your B player to probably buy a smoke or a flash or something to delay a push, right? So what's usually gonna happen is, if your A push ends up working, say at 125, so you're gonna have 2 people walk forklift. They're gonna be walking. It's really important, and it's also important to not wait too long, because if you wait too long, the squeaky player is gonna be there, and then you're fucked. So, and at the same time, the highway players are gonna be there as well. So the mid guy, he's really only spotting. So he's probably either shoulder peeking this would be a good angle, or he's highway and jump peeking, seeing what's what. And as soon as he spots multiple people, that guy just wants to fall back. So you have about you have a 10-second window, and I would say it's between 130 to 110. 20-second window. No, actually not 10. 130 to 120 when you can push with the extremities. And then and you off of the noise, you're gonna ask for a flash, and that guy's gonna pop flash you. It's a classic A main push. You're gonna push and clear it, and whether it works or not, that's when it's gonna trigger on the terrorist's mind. All right, it's time for us now to push. Right? It's time for us to it's time for, let's just we saw 3A. I mean, we saw 2A, but then there was a flash as well, so there's probably at least 3. And then we saw the one guy mid, so let's just take B. Let's just smoke CT and run through. And this is when either having your B players smoke the cross and get into checkers in a gay angle, close range angle, or if he still has a smoke, this is when it's really important for him to use the smoke to block one of the entrances and then play really gay, right? So he can play right here behind the smoke. He can always play by the smoke right here, or he can just play inside and look at the B main run through and see if the terrorist is stupid enough to run through the smoke and give him a free kill. Or he can buy flashes to delay the push. Like as soon as he sees the smoke, he's gonna pop flash, then stay side. He doesn't want to over peek. He doesn't want to peek these angles too wide. He really doesn't. He's there to jiggle peek. Alright, we saw this guy. He's just wasting time basically, allowing this guy right here, the mid rotator, to come through. And if that guy has a flash, he can flash for him, and he can get a kill. And then while all of this is happening, like you guys have you've taken A control, and once you've taken A control, it's either everybody falls back and you decide to stack B. That's what I would usually do. I would leave one guy or 2 guys at A, and I would obviously mid is still open, so I would put 3 people in B towards B and 1 guy watching Z. Or you can keep pushing A main, right? I wouldn't recommend to keep pushing, because to me you're just fighting battles where you're not at a favorable position. Where you're not fighting at favorable positions. So like if you push this right here, you should be this and this, and all these angles really don't favor you. So that's why I don't want to keep. I usually wouldn't want to be pushing. At the same time, the guy outside is squeaking and fuck you as well. So yeah, that's basically, you can do the same thing at B, right? You can have 2 people walk up and stay here, and once they hear that, it's really important. Once they hear that this guy, whether he's running or it's a timing thing, right? So if he's not running, then at about 125 is when you want to be flashing B main. So this guy's gonna be spotting the cross like this. It's It's 125 and I'm flashing you guys in. The fuck? I'm flashing you guys in. And then these guys can, you know, just explode and see if he's close up here. And if he's not, you don't want to be peeking this, right? You just want to fall back. It's alright, dude. It's like we got the information. We tried some. At least we tried something, right? So all of these plays aren't gonna work 100% of the time. They're not. They're gonna work maybe 20-30% of the time, but it's worth it. 200. Let's say you're on a force buy, and you got P250s or CZ or 5.7s. Rather than buying head armor, grab a flash in the smoke. If everybody's got a utility, you can recycle those plays. Basically, do them over and over again until they work. So you can flash B main at 125, then you can flash it again at 115. Then if they're not still there, you can still flash it again in 55 seconds. And if they're still not there 55 seconds, this is usually when you want to keep pushing, when you want to push forward. Because you're giving up mid control, right? You need to take a risk at the extremities, and you need to keep on pushing with that risk. And not pushing, but if it doesn't work, you need to try it again and again and again until it works. Until it works, or like the timer is low enough where you can actually take a risk, gamble, stack aside effectively. Where you have like decent enough information where you know that it's like, I don't know, you're gonna give it a 70% chance that the terrorists are gonna be pushing A with the information we got B, or the opposite, 70% chance that the terrorists are pushing B. Off of what? Maybe there's this guy who's in A who's been jiggle peeking. He hasn't seen anybody highway, or he's seen one guy, but the guy highway hasn't re-peeked him, right? Same thing at B. Maybe you guys have pushed B main, and once you've peeked, you haven't seen this guy like with the flash. You haven't seen anybody. Like you don't see anybody. When you don't see anybody, it usually means they're not there. So it usually means they'll be holding really passively. And something terrorists really don't want to do is having to clear checkers, right? It's a struggle for the terrorists. So yeah, I think I'm done. That was it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. That's it.